Good morning, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the first session of this week's National Apprenticeship Week. This morning we're joined by the team from the Ecitb. So that stands for the Engineering Construction Industry Training Board. So today the team are going to be joining us and they're going to be talking to us about the organisation's importance to the UK's infrastructure and the part that apprentices will play in successfully achieving initiatives like net zero. The team will also be discussing some of the career options that are available to apprentices, and we're going to be followed by a Q&A, which I'll be hosting. So before I hand over and disappear, I'll just do a little bit of housekeeping for you. A reminder that the session is being recorded, so anybody that's here or who's registered will be sent the link to the recording, so don't panic about missing anything. If there is anything that you want to see and have immediately, though, I'd say take a picture with your phone. And really, aside from that, it's my cue to say, you know, please take part, engage, ask questions in the Q&A. I'll be popping back up to put those to the team. But yeah, take it away, team, and enjoy.
I'm a senior account manager within the Ecitb. I look after Southern England, and within that, approximately 80 companies. We work with employers and training providers and other stakeholders to ensure that all staff are trained and competently assured at all levels across a significantly wide range of skills.
So I'm Adrian Wookey, head of new entrants, and thanks to Dawn for leading us in. So this morning, as Dawn alluded to, we're going to be talking not only about the industry, but we're going to be talking about the exciting roles and opportunities within the industry. So let's have a look at engineering construction industry, the training board, the Ecitb. So let's unpack the title, Engineering Construction Industry Training Board. That's exactly what we are. We're the training board that looks after the engineering construction industry. So engineering construction is a really, really big industry, and it looks after things like power stations, oil rigs, pharmaceutical, chemical plants, and we'll be talking about those in a minute. Our role as the training board is to make sure that the industry receives the skills that they need to be able to meet the needs of the engineering construction industry as a whole. So we work with training providers, companies, and educational bodies to attract, develop, and qualify the people that work in our industry. So we play a pretty important role, to be fair. Okay, so let's have a look at the next slide. Right, as I said, it's a big industry. Not only is it a big industry, it's a really interesting industry. At the moment, we make up about 1/5 of the total UK economy, so it is a big deal. We've got a range of exciting careers that people can pursue within the industry, and Dawn will be talking more about those as we get through the presentation. Now, it's all very well me telling you about the industry. Maybe it would be a little bit easier if we had a look at this little video. It only takes about 90 seconds. So if Matt, you could play the video now, we'll have a look.
Engineering construction is the industry that powers our lives. It designs, builds, and looks after the energy systems that keep our lights on, the machines that keep our water clean and flowing, and put food on your table. The systems that generate the fuels we use to get about and to keep us warm. Engineering construction is central to tackling climate change. Do you want to learn skills that will allow you to enjoy an exciting and rewarding career and get paid a great starting salary? The industry needs people like you to power its future. It's time to change the future. It's time to change your future. It's time for a career in engineering construction.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt. Okay, so let's have a look at the industry then. So we've said about how important engineering construction is to the UK. And not only the UK but globally. Let's have a look at the different sectors that go to make up engineering construction. Well, we'll start with oil and gas. From manufacturing materials, which make things like smartphones and tablets to keep your house warm, to providing the fuel that allows us to move around. This sector is really important. We've also got pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals, they produce things like vital drugs and medicines. I don't need to tell you how important that is. And then we've also got renewables. So renewables are a big area of focus at the moment as we move into the clean energy. Add to that the chemicals. Chemicals is a highly diverse and highly diverse industry, and it impacts on almost every aspect of our daily life. For instance, the 3D printing market relies heavily on chemicals. Food and drink, well, I don't need to go into the importance of food and drink. Power, again, all types of power, different types of power mix. Without the power, we wouldn't be able to switch on the lights. We all know about nuclear power as well. It's going to be a leading light as we move into the clean energy mix. And last but not least, water. So you can see it's a very, very, very diverse industry. Okay, so let's have a think about engineering construction globally. So it plays a really, really big part globally. It's booming. Now, employment in the ECI is forecasted to grow. It's forecasted to grow year on year on year. It's a highly skilled industry, and it looks after some of the biggest infrastructure projects, both in the UK and the world. So if you want an exciting career, if you want to travel, if you want to experience different cultures, I guess engineering construction is the industry for you. Okay, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Dawn now, who's going to pick up and tell you a little bit more about the types of careers and the roles that you could look to pursue in our exciting industry.
Thanks, Adrian. So as you said, there is a significantly wide range of opportunities for you, and they range from level 2 qualifications all the way through to mastership and PhDs. With regards to apprenticeships, there are level 2, level 3, level 4 starting apprenticeships that will give you an open doorway into the industry. Disciplines are vast and range from project management, welding, pipe fitting, steel erecting, project controls, design and drafting, mechanical installation, and so on. You can see on the slide there's a number of different job titles within that, and you can see that they cover the 8 sectors that Adrian has just alluded to. But within that, there are many other job roles. There are planning engineers, there are project managers, there's water processing engineers, laboratory technicians, subsea engineers, and these roles are available across the UK and across the globe. We've got nuclear technicians, electrical fitters, drone operators. So you can see that they cover the new engaging technologies, as well as the traditional industries and technologies that we do still need and are absolutely core to driving the industry forward. So the opportunities that exist are open to everybody, irrespective of where you come from, where you start. Everybody has the ability to offer something within this industry. We have had, so it's what makes the industry so unique, diverse and successful, to have a range of opportunities and a range of people that join the industry. So if I move on to the next slide, and really moving forward into the next 10, 20, 30 years, looking ahead to net zero, we know that many industry professionals are working on large superstructures ranging from wind farms to nuclear power stations. And we're helping them with designing and tackling that climate change by installing new energy solutions. It's really important, as we need everybody's help to get us to build a sustainable industry. The energy transition is coming, and it is coming very fast, and it's essential that the UK workforce has the correct skills for net zero, which will take advantage of all the jobs that are created by the new projects and initiatives. We're working incredibly hard with employers, government, training providers to ensure that everyone has the right skills for today and the jobs for the future. What does that mean? It means that we're making sure that we have the technical skills to ensure that we're delivering on UK government's commitments to decarbonise the existing industry. So where the old industry, the old oil and gas, the old steel industries, we're actually working with them to convert those into hydrogen, nuclear and carbon capture facilities, as well as driving forward the project management capability of those industries to work on a collaborative, connected way and challenge the status quo. The ECITB is definitely one of the leading voices around this path and is working with the UK on various initiatives, including the Green Jobs Task Force, where we're looking at the skills requirement and the workforce to support the energy transition. We are also working on programmes to identify and address the required engineering skills for net zero, and we are launching many new programmes and initiatives to drive these skills forward across the industry. So the industry is, as Adrian and I have mentioned earlier, it is all over the UK as well as all over the globe. But specifically within the UK, you can see there are some hotspots. They are being termed industrial clusters by government and industry. And you can see, if I just go round the map, from Aberdeen, Grangemouth, down into England, keeping going down the east side, Teesside, Humber. We then come down to the southeast, where we are hoping and anticipating 2 nuclear power plants, Sizewell and Bradwell. Come down to the south coast, which is home to me, the Fawley refinery, where there is now beginning to be a large cluster of exciting initiatives to turn that into a hydrogen site. Then we go round to the southwest to New Hinkley Point, which is building a nuclear power plant, the biggest infrastructure site in the country. We then go to South Wales Industrial Cluster, and up to the northwest with the Northwest HyNet Cluster. These clusters are providing services and opportunities actually on site, but many of those clusters are being serviced by companies that are working all over the UK, a lot of them based in the London area. So the design houses and offices are located in other areas, and they will then take the staff to those sites, as well as actually when they're in the construction and the maintenance and operating of those sites, people will travel around the country to serve those needs. So, therefore, I'm hoping you can understand that it doesn't matter where you work, where you live within the UK, the opportunities to work on these clusters and other locations around the country are open and varied and available to you. We are very lucky today. We've got a couple of young entrants into the industry who are starting their journey as apprentices and scholars within this industry. And what I'd like to do is hand over to those 2 individuals to talk a little bit more about their journey, what made them interested in joining the sector, and what they are studying.
So there's 2 of us here, yeah, and we're both attending Richmond College doing the Design and Drafting ECITB scholarship course. So I'm Mikey, I'm 19. I've done A-level maths beforehand, and that's been a big help on the course. So I found the course through applying to an apprenticeship at Richmond College, and I was told I needed more of an engineering background. So the scholarship is giving me that engineering background. The college course is really what appeals to me about it is it's really to prepare yourself for an apprenticeship and to fast track you into them.
So I'm Ayana, I'm 18, and before starting this scholarship I did GCSEs, and one of my GCSEs was design technology, so it gave me a bit of a background in the design side of things. So when I chose this scholarship, originally I came to just join a standard engineering course, but I was told my grades were good enough and I had more of a design background so I could join the scholarship. And for me, it appealed to me because it helps me get into an apprenticeship faster, and it's just something I enjoy more.
So why we chose the scholarship is, well, for me, it's because it's a path into apprenticeships and a path into the working world.
And for me, it's because it gives me hands-on learning, which also gives me a practical and applied knowledge.
Furthermore, the scholarship, it simulates a working place. So you attend college 9 to 5. We have our own room. We call it our own office. It's where, as opposed to going to our different classes for our different lessons, we have all of our lessons in that classroom, obviously other than the workshop where we have to go to the workshop. And we also spend all our free time in there. So all we can go out for our free time. We're not trapped.
And so one of the reasons I chose to go the apprenticeship route after this is because it helps you get a degree without having to go to the university full time. Because for me, I don't want to go to university full time. I just want to go straight into working. So this just helps me and gives me a boost into that.
So my interests are, I'm quite creative. So the design and drafting, that's been quite, I'm really enthusiastic about it. So it's been quite a boost for that. I'm also quite into CAD designing. I'll often sit at home and sort of just draw on their design shapes, see what I can make. So one time I was designing a TIE fighter from Star Wars just because I thought it'd be fun.
So for me, some of my interests since I was younger have always been design and making things and just building stuff. And I've also, since I started secondary school, I've wanted to work in the engineering world since I had a lot of opportunities to go to engineering workshops and speak to engineers.
So we've talked together about this. It's about our best bits on the course and what we find the best 3 subjects are. So for the first year, we've done a City and Guilds CAD course, and we've just collected the certificates for that. That was basically just 2D CAD, 3D CAD, your drawing, and you're graded on how efficient your drawing is. And that was one of the best subjects.
Another one of the subjects was where we were in the workshop and we used hand processes and secondary machines to create things in the workshop. So, for example, we made a toolmaker's clamp and we finished that just at the end of the year. And for me, it gave me like a sense of achievement when I finished it.
So for the first year, our third, they're not ranked, but our third best subject was Unit 3. That unit is basically the design process. You get given a product, like a wall bracket was one of our products, and it has a problem with it. You've got to redesign the manufacturing process to see what the problem is and how it could be solved. And for the second year, we agreed on one subject, but the other 2 we had a bit of disagreement on. So for the second year, my 3 favourite subjects are the VQ, which is it's different for every for all engineering backgrounds. So there's piping, mechanical, and then there's design and drafting. So for us, it's about the long-term design process, understanding every stage of the design process, and it's applied to engineering drawing for us. So we sort of are breaking down a problem, which is for us a processing plant, and we're looking at every stage of the design process in high detail to understand it for when we're in the working world. Then the second unit for me is Unit 5. That's like Unit 3, but whereas Unit 3 you had multiple projects throughout the year, Unit 5 you've got one project and you're thoroughly understanding the design process. And my last one is the fabrication. That's inside the workshop, where we're doing welding, bending, and sort of sheet metal processes. So last week we finished our pressure vessel and we tested them.
So for me, I have another 3 subjects for the same. One of them is also the VQ, which is the same as Mikey for the same reasons. And another one is Unit 7, which is calculus, so it's maths. And one of the reasons I like it is because the teaching is really good and the assignments are quite straightforward. So for me, I feel like it's something I can easily do and I don't have much trouble with. And my last subject is Pneumatics and Hydraulics. So for that, you make circuits, like pneumatic circuits, and you see how they work. You have to be able to design them yourself. You have to learn how to apply it in real life.
So overall about the course, what we enjoy the most, to be honest, is the simulating the workplace. You've got to be in at 9 o'clock you stay till 5 o'clock, even if you don't have lessons. You stay there, you study, you can get your assignments done. It gives you a lot of, I want to say, it's an idea of the workplace. It's a really good time frame. There's also the deadlines for assignments. That's quite strict, but then it's also simulating the workplace. You're not going to be able to hand in a bit of work late because that won't look good on you.
And we also have done some work experience. So me and Mikey, we went to Subsea 7 in Sutton, and we did work experience for them for a week using CAD. So we learned a lot of extra things we hadn't learned here before. We have used CAD before, but we learned new techniques or how companies themselves like to do different things. And we also did a 2-day course to earn our CCNSG safety passport, which basically is just a 2-day course where you learn about different types of safety in the industry. And there's tests you have to do just to make sure you understand, so you're allowed on sites.
So finally, where we would see ourselves in 5 years. So for me, the scholarship is a fast track into apprenticeship. So after this, I want to get an apprenticeship, and after the apprenticeship, it will be a job in CAD and design and drafting. So that's really where I see myself in 5 years' time, in a job in CAD, design and drafting.
For me, after the scholarship, I also want to get an apprenticeship and then either hopefully get a job in CAD or become a mechanical engineer.
Yep, so that's us done, Dawn. Cool.
Thank you both. They were absolutely brilliant stories, and it's great to listen to your journey and what you're interested in and what you've learned so far. I think they've been very good examples of the opportunities that do exist within the engineering construction industry.
Right then, so there's a few overarching practical questions. So if you can just remind everybody how they can apply, when they can get started, and kind of the links that they can find information on, I think that'll be a good starting point with the questions.
Do you want me to lead into that, Heather? I think I'm back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, guys. So what you just heard about there from Mikey and Ayana was the scholarship. So the scholarship is a program that the Ecitb run, and it is it's almost like a pre-apprenticeship. Now, if you're looking to apply for an Ecitb scholarship, then you need to check, and I think you need to check in the next couple of months, because that's when the recruitment will be taking place. We do have a page on our website, so if you Google Ecitb scholarship, you should be able to find it. If not, go onto the homepage.
So yes, go on to our Ecitb homepage and search for scholarship, and that will take you to our page that will give the information against all the training providers that deliver the scholarship. With regards to apprentices, the National Apprenticeship site will also take you through to any company that is looking to recruit apprentices across the industry and those training providers that deliver them. And they are literally across the country. And I know that many are looking at taking on more apprentices this year and into next year as the demand increases and projects are coming more online within the UK. So I think that answers sort of where to find information without being too specific, because obviously that is a challenge for us, but certainly they are being advertised. And what was the other part of the question? Sorry.
Yeah, when they can get started, really. So how quickly you can get onto this.
Yep. So scholarships they commence in September, as Adrian was just trying to say, that many of them will start to look at recruiting in the next month, 6 weeks, with a start date for September. Apprenticeships can be applied for all year round now. And again, by checking the National Apprenticeship website, you will find when employers want to take their entrance in. Again, it will vary depending on the size of the organisation. Many companies do them in block starts, but then equally there are many companies that will now do starts at various times throughout the year. So September used to be the core start, but I know that has changed, and many companies will do starts across the year.
Okay, marvellous, thank you. There was an interesting question. Usually when people ask about age restrictions for apprenticeships, they're wondering whether they're too old just from historically apprentices are fairly young and just coming out of school. But this was an interesting question around in some of the kind of job types and areas that you've spoken about.
Yes, certainly. So it is a good question, and you're right. The age of apprentices now is any age, really. That is recent. However, to get onto a construction site, most, I'm not going to say all, but most construction sites have a minimum age of 18, and that is down to the health and safety aspects. And that's one of the reasons why the two from Richmond have said they have done their safety passport, because again, to get onto construction sites, you have to have a safety passport that demonstrates that you understand the biggest challenges that you will face, and understand how to get, be safe and competent to be on a site. So 18 is a minimum age to get physically onto a construction site, but to produce work that will be used on a construction site, apprenticeships can start at the age of 16.
And there's not an upper age limit, is there, with this?
No.
So you can't necessarily be, too old.
No, not really. And that is definitely something that has changed in the last few years. Apprenticeships are now open to anybody at any age. That's down to the employer to make those decisions.
Okay, lovely. There was a question around specialising in certain areas of work that were going to be kind of future-proofed. So can you give us any information on, what kind of areas of work people could go into to really protect themselves from any issues, in the future?
Would you like me to pick that one up, Dawn? I think I'm back. Right. So I think it's important to say that with net zero, there are new jobs opening up, but I think any of the traditional jobs going forward, mechanical, electrical, instrumentation and control, design and drafting, project control, I think they'll all be viable. So I don't think you need to really worry about going into a role and that role becoming obsolete. I think what you may find is some of the roles change. And there's new skill sets required, such as working with different types of data. But I don't think any of the roles at the moment are going to become obsolete, not in the short term.
Brilliant. That's great. I think we've got time for one more question. There's a few that have come through, but they were quite overarching. So I do think that most people have been covered. But Sophie's asked quite a specific question. She said, hello, everybody. I didn't get my GCSE maths at grade 4. I got a grade 3. I wanted to ask if this would hold me back from applying for roles within the industry. I think,
Sophie, the thing to do is I think if you look, you'll see that local colleges will be advertising for potentially advertising for apprenticeships, and I think maybe you should go and speak to one of the colleges and just explain your situation and just explain the grades you've got and what opportunities are open for you. I think that would be the sensible thing to do.
Brilliant. That's great. Well, guys, as you can see here, everybody that's in the room, there's 781 of you here this morning. Goodness me, brilliant. But you can see that this is where you can go and find further information. There were a couple of questions about this on the chat. So there's your QR code. You've got your Twitter handle, Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn as well. Thank you to the Ecitb team for holding such a brilliant session. So informative, interesting, real life experiences. It's brilliant. And thank you to everybody who's been here and asked questions, and hopefully it's been super informative for you guys there. Adrian and Dawn, I'm just going to quickly hand over to you just for a little goodbye and final piece before we log off.
It was really nice to speak to you, and I hope you took something away from today's session. I think my only advice to you, everyone, is check with your local colleges. There's also various government web pages which will help you locate apprenticeships, and there's also the Ecitb website, and we've got a careers section on that which you should get some information from. Dawn?
I would just like to add that once you join this industry, The opportunities are endless and varied, and you should have a career for life, which isn't often said nowadays, but it can happen in this industry because it is such a wide, diverse and globally accessible industry. So I wish you all the best of luck. Go and have a look at what the opportunities are out there, and look forward to seeing your work in the future.
Brilliant. Thank you, everybody. Take care.